All right, guys, first question of the night. Wearing Slowpitch jerseys in public, yes or no? Joey.
I'm going to go with yes.
Okay.
Because I don't really go out and do much. So, I mean, it's more of a comfort thing for me. And it's basically all I have in my closet.
Okay.
Like I have 5,000 jerseys. So,
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, if I go out and, I'm not going to go in my softball jersey out to the bar or something. But,
Because I see it, man.
Yeah.
You know, go to a restaurant, it's like, oh, the family's looking nice, Slowpitch jersey.
Yeah.
That's not you, though.
No,
not that. What about you?
Absolutely. It's a brotherhood, man. It's it's like wearing your favorite band out to an airport, or you go something and somebody else sees you, you're like, what's up, man? Like, you know what's up. You know what I mean? Like, it's a brotherhood, you know? Like you get it. I get it. You get it. What's up, man? How you doing? And you can not even know that person. But if I go to Roswell and I go to the Pickwick or Allsips, and I see another guy in a softball jersey, automatically we're like, hey, man, what's up, man? Who you play for? That's like an instant kind of bond thing. So absolutely, you know, you probably see me at Walmart plenty of times wearing one of my softball jerseys. You know, it is what it is. Because like Joey said, you know, we've both been lucky enough to play on teams where they're like, here's 5 jerseys. Every tournament, here's a new jersey. Every tournament. I mean, what else are you going to wear? You got to put them to use.
True. Okay. Very cool. Is there like a certain greeting? Because like, what is it? Like Harley's, they do like the peace sign down low, the Jeep wave.
Yeah.
Is there a Slowpitch like, you know, forearm bump or something?
No special handshakes. At least not that I know of.
Okay.
No, I don't know any.
No.
You guys are going to start that after this.
Yeah, right?
We could.
All right, guys, welcome to the podcast. All Sports Best podcast, by the way, sponsored by the Lucky Bull Grill. Upstairs will be open in the new year, so be on the lookout for that. Really excited about that. And, of course, a big shout out to our sponsor for that reason. All right, guys, so we're talking about Slowpitch at the highest level, right? Really excited about this. We've got Joey Aguilar. We have Ryan Honeycutt. So pro softball players, upper softball players, how do we reference what you guys do?
Well, you know, a lot of bat companies and stuff, they refer to you as a pro, you know, a pro softball player, or here's our pro signature model bat, or here's our pro signature player, you know. But to me personally, like, I don't see it as a pro deal, you know. No, now granted, there's a lot of people who get paid in this game, one way or another, with your bat company, your sponsor, whatever. But to me, like, USSA is an amateur sport. Not all the time are we playing against guys that are pros, right? I mean, because you could play league, you could play a sponsored event where you're playing against a lower division team sometimes to get ready. So it's not all the same playing field. But me personally, I just don't refer to it as a pro. But it's upper level softball to me, you know, and usually that's B and up. B and up's considered like upper level. And that's how I look at it, you know.
Yep. Said it perfect. No, he said it perfect. I'm upper guy, you know. So I'd rather play down right now, man. Go play with all the homies and all the guys local. What sucks about us is we can't play locally anymore much. So, but that's just the label it goes with.
So you can play. Player. You can play like league though. Like you can. Hey, we're all friends. We can play. But when you go to a tournament, you can't drop down. No. If you do, like how would you if you really wanted to? You would have to just give up whatever you're doing now?
It'd have to be on a pickup roster.
Okay.
At a championship division tournament. Like we can't go play C or D. Like we can't do that anymore. You can go as a bump one classification down.
Okay.
So since I'm A, I can't play C. I could play B as a bump, but I can't play lower than that. And then Honeycutt, he's a major player, so he can't go. He pretty much can't play at all. Anyway,
really?
Yeah.
So a bump down would be A, which
bump
is
down,
basically
double A.
Bump down.
Yeah. So kind of the way it goes is major. You got your major, double A, B, C, D, E, rec, all the way down, right? And like pretty much like Joe as well, you know, like we can't just show up to Hobbs and play. And I wish we could, unless the director said, hey, this is an open roster, basically anybody can show up and play, and then we can sign in and play. But if it's a sanctioned event and it's a C or whatever event, we can't play, unfortunately. So that's good and bad, right? Because the only way you get better is if you play. But at the same time, like you know, there's a big disparity, and you know you could potentially hurt somebody, you know, because you got guys out there that are just out there to have fun and stuff, and you're used to playing like at a different level, and guys aren't wearing masks and stuff, and it's just there's a disparity. So that's why they do it, to try to keep it level. But around here, there's not a lot of upper softball tournaments that make. So you're kind of stuck at you play league, or you travel to Dallas or travel to Phoenix or somewhere bigger city where they have a little bit more upper chances.
Okay.
But that's how that works.
You said open. And the only thing that I can think of when I think of open now was tournaments that were going on in Ruidoso, New Mexico, right? So is that still a thing? And if open, does that still mean open for classification, or just you can hit as many home runs as you want?
It's both.
Okay.
Some people refer open to unlimited home runs. Some people refer it to open roster.
Okay.
But it's both. But it's basically championship division. It's not open. Open means, like, in the state of New Mexico, open means unlimited home runs.
Right.
But anywhere else, it means it's all.
You could have Ohtani show up one weekend and play softball if you want to, in an open division, right? It doesn't matter. I mean, you could be the best guy. You would be the best guy in the conference playing against a guy who's never even swung a bat before. There's no rules or restrictions on that. So they try to keep it kind of somewhat in the competitive range there.
So.
And yes, we still do Ruidoso.
Yeah. No, it's the best tournament.
Yes, it's my favorite tournament of the year.
It's amazing. It's a mecca of softball. Joey's put together a team that's won 3 in a row or something. Yeah,
really,
just dominating. And that's a hard tournament to win. Because you're talking about 280-foot fences, 8,000 feet elevation, unlimited dingers, home runs. So. I mean, you got teams, no bat testing, so you got good bats, really good bats out there. So it's a really hard tournament to win. But Joey's team, I mean, everybody knows. I see in the bracket, they're playing for second. You know what I mean? That's just reality of it. So that's the mecca of softball right there.
Joey's over there,
Oh yeah.
I pride myself on that tournament, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I like winning that tournament, but there's been competition. I mean, every year we run into somebody that gives us a run for our money. Because you never know, somebody might show up and just stay hot, and you can't get them out. But luckily I've had all my buddies are pretty good, so we were able to finish it out. So.
Yeah.
I want to talk about etiquette in softball. In baseball, there's a lot of unwritten rules, right? In softball, they're pretty similar. But one of the things that really sticks out to me is the reason I would never pitch is guys can hit middle, right? At the pro level, that's wide open. Is there still a back and forth when that happens? You hit a guy, you hit up the middle, you can hit. I mean, you guys both can hit a ball at an unbelievable rate. You hit up the middle, hit a guy. Is there a confrontation there, or is it that's softball?
It's just part of the game.
Yeah.
Once you get past C class, I mean, it's middle's pretty much the most wide open spot in the field to get a hit.
Right. So,
and then you're limited on home runs as well on top of that. So for me as a hitter, I mean, either I'm locking in or I just need a hit. We're out of bombs where I just need a hit. I leading off an inning. The middle is usually wide open. Now, granted, he might move to where you're hitting, and that's more the case now than ever, is just the pitcher moves into where you're hitting rather than the hitter actually going for the pitcher, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just part of the game, and if you get hit, I mean, as a pitcher, you're going to wear one every now and then. If I don't pitch, I mean, I'm pitching league.
Right.
But if I did pitch, I mean, you got to have the mindset, I got to be ready. Because
it's just part of the game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like Joey said, I mean, you get to a certain level and it's kind of expected. Now there's some unwritten rules, like when you're up by double digits and stuff like that, and there's still home runs and you're going middle a lot. Teams are going to take exception to that, and they're going to try to hit your pitcher. That's just the way it is. Or you're playing at the Smoky or something, which is like Ruidoso for conference, right? You can hit as many dingers as you want, and you're peppering middle on guys, or they're not going to like that very much. And they have guys who hit it just as good as your guys do. So your pitcher's watching it from the dugout, great, here it comes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You start taking
protect your guy.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's a lot of that going on. But as middle, I mean, you play some tournaments around here, or not around here, but just D and lower and stuff. You get one shot to middle, and it's almost a fight. And what people don't understand is, You know, and a lot of times guys that are playing lower levels are just out of baseball. So you don't really know what you're doing yet. You don't know where you're going to hit the ball to begin with, you know, and somebody throws one flat and outside corner, it's going to go up the middle, especially if you're a baseball player, right? Because that's what we're trained to do. So, I mean, it's an accident, but people don't like it, especially, you know, people don't like it, period, but especially lower levels, they're not trying to get hit. Right. And everybody should wear a mask. All the time, you know. In league, it don't matter. You should always wear a mask in league. You should always wear a mask in rec. Definitely at the upper levels, because it just takes one. You know, I mean, it just takes one bad swing from a guy, and those bats are so good nowadays. It just, you know, you can easily lose your life out there in the softball field if you're not pitching without a mask. So if you're listening out there, wear a mask. Everybody, wear a mask. You know, please.
Public service announcement.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so speaking of all of that, have you guys seen anything go down that you were like, whoa, we need to, you know what I mean, take a break? This is crazy.
Oh,
or
somebody
have you seen anything?
Hit?
Yeah.
No, I mean,
you've been lucky enough to kind of avoid that.
I haven't seen a big ordeal. I mean, Honeycutt, he hit a guy pretty good in the conference championships that I was watching, and the pitcher just moved into the hole where he was hitting. It wasn't nothing intentional, but like it hit him pretty good.
Yeah, got him up into the chin, and he threw it and bounced into the hole where I was going, and I mean, it just what it was, hit him right at the chin, the helmet came off. But you know, I wasn't trying to go there, but at the same time, I'm not apologizing either. That's part of the game,
right,
you know.
But I've seen, if you apologize, you're like admitting guilt.
Yeah, you're just like, hey man, you know, and you're not saying, oh, you're just, you know, a lot of times if I hit a guy and you know it's a bad swing right away, hey man, my fault. You know what I mean? Because you're not trying to hurt nobody, especially if it's not a conference event. You're just playing a tournament somewhere. You're not trying to hurt anybody. But I've seen guys get their arms snapped in half. There's a guy, Mike Martinez, remember for Dirty Vegas in Houston? I was watching that, and I can't remember where they were at, but it was early. It was like in Dallas or somewhere. Anyways, somebody light him up, and around the forearm, it broke his arm in half. I mean, and he, you know, he's pretty much out most of the year. So I've seen some bad things happen to people, and you know, we've gone through tournaments in the conference where, you know, you have 3 pitchers and 2 of them are out completely the tournament because they got hit with a ball, you know, ankle or somewhere like that, where you just, you know, you might be able to finish the game. You get out there and just swolled up, you know, you're done. You know, plenty of broken hands, guys who glove it and still breaks their hands. You know, talking about balls coming 115 miles an hour sometimes. You know, I mean, you know, and
those are not soft balls as much as the sports name that. No, those things are rocks.
Yeah. So it's definitely a scary thing, you know. But
you'll see middle wars in conference. I mean, I don't know if it's an ego thing or it pretty much is an ego thing. Like you'll see a team go back and forth, going up the middle on purpose, but it's just kind of like a pissing contest,
right?
You know, I mean, once it gets to that point, but you'll see a middle contest, but you won't see like most confrontations happen at the lower levels. Like they'll get their feelings hurt more often than not, just because they think they're actually out to gun for them, you know,
right?
Trying to hurt them. But all the confrontations and fights and all that whatnot, I seem to see that more often in the lower levels because they just don't understand the game as much as when the upper balls do.
Yeah. All right. So speaking about like hitting balls 115 miles an hour, right? That's insane, by the way. Especially when it's coming at you in a line drive. Bats are hotter than ever in some ways, but you guys, can you use those hot bats, or are there regulations on what you are using?
Yeah. So a couple years ago, they came out with a new stamp, right? So it used to be a 220. They called it a 220 stamp, you know, meaning that bat can't compress lower than 220. To now it's a 240 stamp. So they deaden up the bats a little bit, right? Because the bats were just stupid good. So they try to deaden it up as much as they can. But I mean, they're still good. I mean, you're still gonna hit it. And before every conference event, and this was like a lot of lower level guys who watch, you know, the games on YouTube or whatever. Yeah. They don't understand. And, you know, it's like every bat is tested before you even start the tournament. So you show up with your bat and you put it on the tester, and there's a, you know, league official or the USSSA official there, and he makes sure it doesn't get below a certain point. And if it does, you can't use it. He puts it away and you'll never see it again until you leave. So they try to keep everything on a level playing field as much as they can. You know, now there's always people who kind of bend those rules and do some different stuff, but the idea is to keep everybody as level playing field as we possibly can. You know, so
And safe, just making the game more safe.
So can you kind of explain that a little bit more, just the official part? Because what you're saying, so they put it down on like is it kind of like a bouncing thing or like a compression device?
It presses. It's a little contraption you put the barrel through, and you lock it in, and then when you snap it in, it tests how much compression, how much the barrel squeezes down.
Okay.
And how much PSI that creates. Oh. And the softer the barrel is, the hotter the ball's going to come off.
Oh, I see.
So if it goes below 240, then it's coming off hotter from the barrel because the barrel's softer. So they want to keep that barrel as hard as possible until it starts filling to make it safer.
Okay. All right. I get it.
And they change the balls too. And, a lot of times we use what they call like a pro-am ball. That's, not as hard as someone like you come out here and you hit like the blue dots, we're calling like the rocks and stuff like that.
You can't use those.
No. The conference events, you use a little bit different ball. That's doesn't come off as hard. It's not supposed to. At night it still comes off.
I mean, the way you guys, I've seen your videos, I've seen your highlights, all that stuff. I mean, that ball looks like it's as hard as anything can be. It's insane, but it's because you guys work on that, right?
Yeah. I mean, they make us hit little softer balls and stuff, and then when you do hit a good ball, you're like, wow, I can't believe we used to hit that all the time. It's crazy.
Exactly. Like in BP, we don't even use those hard balls anymore. But sometimes they'll get it mixed in there somehow. We'll just find them in the parking lot, whatever, and they'll get mixed in. And we hit it, we're like, yeah. There's a home run derby we had last year here. It was for the spring, right? It was the spring home run derby, and it was a home run derby, right? So we were both using the good balls, the ones that go. And I mean, this dude was hitting them, 460 feet. You know what I mean? I mean, consistently, right?
That's wild.
And it wasn't like it was 50 degrees. It was probably 80 degrees outside. Yeah. And it's just like, but that just shows you, like, we're so used to hitting batting practice with soft, squishy balls that when you get a good one, you're like, wow, I know why they ban these things now, because they're good. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're stupid good.
That was with my dude's Honeycutt's bat, too.
There you go.
It was with my signature bat,
So tell me about that. So what bats are we using? And then, of course, I want to hear about the Honeycutt bat. What is it called?
Well, it's the Suncoast. It's a 13-inch barrel. It's red, white, and yellow. I call it the enchilada, and that's what kind of people call it around the deal. But it's just a Ruckus Max. It's got a 13-inch barrel with a half-ounce end load. It's through Suncoast Sports. So yeah, I've got that got that in the summer, and been using it ever since. And we're gonna have a new one coming out here in 2024.
Really?
So yeah,
I've been sneak peeks on what that might look like.
I haven't got a chance to look at it yet. I definitely we want to put something together pretty cool. This one I didn't get a chance to do anything with. They said, hey man, you want a bat or not? I said, yep. You give me a bat with my name on it. I'll figure out how to use it, because what I was using before was completely different. Specs wise, I'm used to using a 12-inch barrel with the half-ounce end load, and went 13. And there's some advantages, disadvantages, and things like that. But it's pretty cool, and it's a lot of pride when you go to a tournament and see someone using your bat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, wow, that's pretty sweet.
Somebody you
very
don't
lucky.
know.
Yeah, a complete stranger using your bat, and you're like, wow, you see the reviews online, good or bad or whatever, it doesn't matter. Like it still brings a lot of pride, because we've come a long way, and we've been working hard and hitting when it's really cold, or hitting, doing all the sacrifice and all the stuff, and making all the road trips, sleeping in our car to play in tournaments. Wow. And you get a chance to get your own bat. You're like, dang, that's pretty sweet, So I've been very lucky, very blessed to have that opportunity with Suncoast, and it's been pretty cool, So it's very durable, very durable. So I used one in the major that had over 3,000 swings on it, and it still didn't break, and it still compressed at 250 or something, So it had room to spare, and it's still really good. So Suncoast has really got the durability down. And that's huge, because you want to be able to take batting practice with your bat. You know, when we first started playing ball, we'd order a bat and we'd break it in 20 swings, 15 swings.
Using rocks, not knowing.
Yeah.
Using rock hard balls, and take 50 to 100 swings and they break.
Yeah, you just
And
spent
those are
$300 on a bat.
Using harder balls should let it last longer.
No.
No, oh, it's the
Yeah,
opposite.
it breaks
Okay.
it. Yeah, you want to use squishy balls and bat in practice. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, you spend $300 on a bat and you go and use it for 100 swings and it breaks. You're like, come on, man. You know.
Yeah,
And,
Yeah.
it's terrible.
you know, so but yeah, so that's my bat, you know, and you know, it's been really going really well, and I'm excited to see. I got to swing the new one last weekend in Florida as a tester, and it's gonna be way better than the one this year. I know that. So
what is it? Is it like when you test it, is it like stripped? There's no design to it. They're just like, here's the bat at its very plain level.
yes, sir. Yep. So
Okay.
you have a prototype, exactly. So
Yeah.
you show up and it's just, you know, hey, here's this bat. This is yours, and they usually have it written down in like marker. You know, because this is a prototype, all black, you know, and you swing it and kind of give your feedback. Hey, I like this. I don't like that. Or, hey, I feel a little vibration here. Or, hey, you know, feels a little light on the end. Or and they kind of tweak it and stuff and try to get down. Now, every bat's kind of a little bit different. You know, they can make 1,000 bats and there might be 50 that maybe are a little different somewhere along the lines. But they've been really good at, like, you know, kind of pinpointing what you want and customizing it to you, you know. And,
Is it going to be a different bat? Is it going to be 13-inch again?
It's going to be the same.
Can you tell us that?
It's going to be the same specs.
Same specs, okay.
Yep, it's going to be the same specs, but a little bit different technology. So the ones this year, I felt like the barrels were really tight, meaning, you know, you had to square it up. You know what I mean? Like you had to hit it right on. And if you didn't, you got some feedback on it. This one that I use, man, I mean, there was no feedback whatsoever. And feedback, I mean, when you hit it, you feel it in your hands, right? Almost like, you know, you played a ton of baseball at high levels.
a sting to it?
Yeah, when you take BP and it's cold, you know, and your hands blow up.
Yeah.
You know, there's none of that. So I'm excited about it and excited to see what it comes out with, and yeah, we'll go from there. So, but yeah, that's all I can say about my bat. So
Joey, you use Honeycutt's bat, or you have it.
I have used it, yes.
Okay. But what else do you use in tournaments as well? Like what are some bats that come to mind that maybe you use and then you see a lot out in the, you know, in tournaments?
I don't see it a lot here in New Mexico, but I'm a big micing guy.
Okay.
I've always been a micing guy. I've used the
same way.
KPs forever. Used the black and yellow one. The blue and yellow one was in 2018. Then when it went black in 2019. So I always use that. And then I think it was 2020 I started using a 1 ounce inload, and I got really enjoyed using a 1 ounce. I feel like I can feel the barrel going through the zone more. So this year I went to it's the new Mike and Riley 9R. It's a 12-inch barrel with a 1 ounce inload. It's a 27 ounce. It's a log to most guys because everybody uses like a 25, 26 ounce bat, and where I've seen here in Carlsbad. But I like it because I like feeling the barrel in my hands, and it's a lot stiffer. There's not much flex to it, and I like that. It feels like a one piece in your hand, so I get the best of both worlds with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And it's real hot too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to go back to Honeycutt's bat, in that derby we were talking about earlier, when I was hitting it well. He used that same bat in the next conference tournament. It still passed compression.
Yeah.
So that's how durable it's going, because they hit rocks. We probably hit at least 50 hard balls just that derby, because we went back and forth because this dude wouldn't let me win.
So
we had a good
you
battle.
won?
Yeah,
Yes, I went 9 out of 10.
Oh.
And he still beat me. Dang. We had to go to a playoff, and he beat me in a swing off.
I had a little bit more wind to the right side, you know, so just get it up there.
Whatever.
But yeah,
you bat righty, you bat lefty.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then we go into the home run derby. When you say a swing off, it's here's a pitch. Whatever you do with it, he's got to match it or beat it.
Well, it wasn't.
Or is it every?
We went best of 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the way we structured it, so it was our end of the year tournament, right? Yeah. So after that, we had a home run derby, and what we did is I said, all right, guys, you know, we're gonna have a regular bracket. Whoever wins that bracket gets to hit against Joey. You know what I mean? Hit against Joey and then myself.
Yeah.
So we did all that. Anthony Orgain won it, right? And Orgain, he won it.
There you go.
He earlier that, so funny story, not funny. It's funny now, but you know, he was in there and we had L screens out there, and Samuel Martinez, you know, former caveman here.
Yeah.
You know, he there's a pitch on the outside and he ripped it right up the middle. And I don't know if Ant thought he had enough space, you know, like if he got behind it, but he didn't get behind the L screen, right in the shin. I mean, it sounded like he got hit with the bat right in the shin. I mean, it was just a smack.
Someone
Yeah.
took a tortilla and just hit him in the
Pop, yeah.
The tortilla challenge.
So his shin, yeah, exactly, man. Like his shin was huge.
Oh my God.
And he still ended up winning the home run derby. So he hit it, and then he went all the way through, and then he hit against Joey and myself.
Yeah.
And we put on a show, and we hit some good balls. That was for sure.
Yeah.
And there was, it was a good time for sure. But I wish we're definitely gonna do one of those again. We'll have to have you out there for that one too, man. Whenever you get healthy,
Get that knee better, man.
Yeah, start whacking around.
No, it's funny to hear you guys talk about this because you're like, yeah, we hit it okay. These balls are going like second fence. These are not just like little over the. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's hilarious because
it's like I think
if knowing whoever's listening, right? Like the people that play slow pitch in this area, they know you guys. You guys aren't just hitting. Oh, we're kind of hitting home runs. These are missiles.
Yeah, I think we've both been humbled enough, like playing against like some of the best dudes in like not just the world, right? Like
Sure.
because like they're the best out there, and when you play in Florida, you get humbled very fast because you're playing on baseball fields and the wind's always blowing. So when these guys throw knuckleballs, it's dancing, right?
Yeah.
So it's really hard to square one up over there consistently.
Yeah.
And I try to tell that to a lot of these guys coming up because they see it and they think it's really easy. And I'm like, look, you're not getting the same pitching you are, at your local D event, normally, right?
Yeah.
These guys are the very best at what they do, and they can put a knuckleball, an inch off the plate this way, inch off the plate that way. They can put it heavy on your back shoulder. They can do whatever they want with the ball. And when you add wind to that, it kicks it up a notch, So I tell these guys, hey, you're not getting 4-seam biscuits, meaning some guy just up there rolling it up. When we see those, you're like, oh, deuces, like that's gone. You know what I mean?
You
Like
don't even
smell
have to
you.
think about it.
Yeah. So when you get to that, you get to see those guys, and you get to see some of these big monsters hit. Then your balls don't seem that far anymore. You know what I mean?
No, I get you. For sure. So that's actually what I was going to touch on too was pitching. When you move through levels, I just figured, knowing very basic knowledge of slow pitch, that guys get better pitches, but I can't imagine from just a guy throwing a knuckleball to a guy at the pro level being just that much better, but it's just insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Really?
like night and day.
Yeah, not even.
Because most guys in the lower levels, if they're throwing a knuckleball, they're just trying to get it over for a strike. Like you don't know where it's gonna go. Like these guys that we play against, they know exactly where it's gonna go. Wow. So if your back shoulder's here, they want that ball going right over your back shoulder, try to get you to roll one over, or they'll dance one up and float it and try to drop it short, try to get you out in front.
Wow.
But it's just a different level of pitching, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Is the strike zone the same?
It's tighter. Yeah, so meaning it's harder, to get a strike. And to touch on what Joey was saying, it's like, you got a big league pitcher and you got a guy that's fresh out of college in the minor leagues or something. He might every once in a while throw a really, really good one that's super nasty, but he don't know where it's going with it. Or like an 18-year-old Dominican dude that just doesn't know where it's going, right?
Yeah.
But you get these polished, seasoned dudes, and they can literally, and those guys are smart, man, because it's the highest level, and there's money on the line, so they want to win that money, and they want to get the next contract. So they're gonna watch film, they're gonna watch how they got you out. They're gonna keep going to the well. There's a guy that I'm going to play with him this year, but I've played against him the last few years named Justin Mucciarelli. And to me, like, he's super smart. Like, he remembers how he gets you out. And if you don't make that adjustment, he's not necessarily going to go to it every time. He's going to wait till the right opportunity when you need a big hit. He's going to remember that, and he's going to go back to where it was. Wow. And he's going to go right back in your hole. So guys are just smarter. Guys are just better. And, I tell people it's super easy to make contact. You get these people commenting, "Oh man, slow pitch, it's easy."
Right.
You're right. It's easy to make contact, but when you're trying to put it to a certain spot on the field, or you're trying to hit a home run or do something at a certain time, it's more challenging because these guys aren't just going to throw it up there and let you do it. They're going to do something different on it for you.
Yeah.
And the watermark is like 700. So you have to succeed 7 out of 10 times, right? Whereas baseball, it's like you're going to fail 7 out of 10 times.
Right.
So the expectations are higher to always do the right thing and always get a hit, and not just get a hit, but get a hit at the right time, not just hit a home run, but wait till there's 2 or 3 runners on before you hit a home run. So there's a lot more strategy involved than some people understand. And you top it off, you got a really good pitcher up there who can do whatever he wants with it, and you got really good athletes that play far back because the bases are further back, and you're normally playing on turf. So the balls that might skip through the infield aren't going to skip through the infield anymore. They're going to throw you out, So it's just another degree of difficulty. But, man, what I'm excited about is there's so many young guys in this area and in our region and stuff that are coming up now and doing big things and getting noticed and getting a chance to go compete at some higher levels. And when I first saw Joey playing, we're in league, and Joey would show up at game time with one glove, maybe not even a glove, just show up, run out there. We're usually 5 minutes after the game started, go up, pull it short, make a diving play, throw a guy out from his knees, show up, pick a bat, whatever one he wanted, go hit a dinger, and we went to a tournament, his first tournament playing with like a really good upper team, right? Mestizo back in the day. And we went to Clovis. And Coach Andy, I kept telling him, man, I got a guy who's really good, super athletic. He just nobody knows about him because he doesn't play as a coach. He's always, at that time, you're coaching the Caveman.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, man, just watch him though. Like his tools are there. Like I've seen a lot of guys, he can play. He's good in this. And then we needed a guy at that time. And first at bat, man, Joey goes up and hits one about 120 off the pitcher's chest, and just lights him up,
It wasn't on purpose.
And my coach walked up to him. He's like, he's on. Wow. He's on. He's on. He's on.
That was the only out I made that tournament.
That was it. He was on a roll, So he showed up he announced his presence with authority for sure, But that's what I'm saying. Like there's dudes, really good guys that just don't get a shot to go do that. You know what I mean? Yep. But now we've been lucky enough to get around some good people and in this area to kind of boost guys up and get them to level, get them in front of sponsors and eyeballs that they can get a chance to keep playing up and see what the highest levels of the sport is, right? Yeah. Because as baseball guys, once we get done with baseball, you're like, what do I do now? I got to compete somehow or some way. Yeah. I've been competing all my life. So this is a good transition for guys, young guys out of high school, out of college, to keep continuing to play and compete, Yeah. And that's what I'm probably most proud about is, seeing a young kid come up and tear it up and then get a chance to play on a conference team or play at a different, higher level. That's what it's all about for me. Yeah. That's awesome,
Joey, playing at the upper level, there's perks to it, right? What are some of the perks you've experienced? I know that you guys have both had certain perks that you've been excited about. You told me before the podcast, paid travel, flights, tournament entry. What are some of the perks that you've been most excited about?
So most conference sponsors, they get you there and pay for your lodging, rental cars, all the stuff that makes you not want to go play if you're on a budget, you know what I mean? Yep. Like you don't want to go somewhere and come back broke, Sure. So they make it easy on the player and they get you there. They don't necessarily feed you, or unless you go to like a team dinner, then they might feed you. But what's cool about it is they'll get you there. You don't have to pay a dime to go play, go do what you love, go travel the country. California, Chicago, Florida, you name it. We go there and play ball, and it's amazing to think about. And so we just go do what we love on somebody else's dime. Somebody else loves slow pitch softball more than we do. To be able to fork all that money over, it's a blessing, honestly, because they don't have to do that. I mean, that's just because they love it and they're a competitor too. They can't play anymore, or there's sponsors that want to play too and they'll play too. But it's a cool deal, man. The only downside about it is the traveling itself, because you might run into some ugly flight cancellation. Remember one year it was terrible.
Yeah, the COVID year, I think.
Yeah, flights were so bad. But after that year, this year was pretty good.
Yeah, smooth. Yeah,
this year was pretty good.
Yeah, I know. I remember me and Joe were in Midland one time, and it was before the Florida duel, and they had a hurricane or something going on, so they're canceling flights, and me and him were ready to all right, trying to figure out if we leave now and drive from Midland and start driving towards Vieira, Florida, what time are we going to get in there?
Wow.
It was just, it was just that deal. And the sponsor were like, hey, if that's what it takes, we'll get you a rental car. But, back then, now, it'd be tough to do all that. But back then, we're like, let's do it, man. Let's go. You know what I mean? Let's keep it rolling,
That's cool. That's really cool.
It's been really cool, man. And these sponsors are great people and for doing that, and allowing a bunch of grown men to play at, men's t-ball pretty much. You know what I mean? It's like to think about it, like you're playing a little kid's game and they're flying you around the country to do that. And I know me and him talked about it. Like, dude, we start off playing and, here in Carlsbad, New Mexico, and and stuff like that. And all of a sudden you're like, man, we're going to Florida again, and you take it for granted because the first time I went to Florida, we're like, wow, we're playing at the, this is where the highest level of softball is. And then now it's like you get to go, you're like, cool, all right, when's the flight? You know what I mean? Like you take it for granted,
Sure.
So it's been really awesome, man. And our sponsor this past year, we're treated like the Yankees of softball.
Wow.
I mean, we had everything we needed, flights. We'd get our girlfriend, he'd get our fiancés there. If he had a girlfriend, he'd get them there too. So you didn't have to worry about anything, and he would make
your
sure.
Your fiance and your girlfriend?
Yeah. No. Well, no.
Both of them?
I'm going to go on record. I have one fiance.
I was going to say, that might be a conflict right there.
No.
So what's in it for the sponsors? Like, what is it because they are an affiliate of softball, they sell softball bats, things like that? Or they just are like, hey, if you win a championship, we get a kickback? Or what's the perk for having great players?
So a lot of times, like our sponsor, he gets like an apparel company and stuff, and he uses that to kind of push it. Like our team had its own team bat, as a competitive edge through Suncoast, competitive edge Ruckus, and Ruckus Max. So a lot of times they'll get deals and stuff, and they can, push merchandise that way. But honestly, it's a lot of guys who have grew up playing the game, or maybe their dads play the game and their dads play the game, and they just love the game, and they want to
That's cool.
do that at the highest level. And, and it's a competition for them. They want to assemble the best team and be around good people, and I know that's what my sponsor, Mark Patterson's all about, and Mark Bernius and some of those great sponsors I've had in the past, Mike McGowan. All these guys are like, I want to be around good people,
Yeah.
If I'm going to spend $500,000 a year for a Slowpitch softball team, it's going to be around guys I like.
Right.
Not guys that are out, running around on their wives, not guys just doing bad things and showing up drunk or whatever. They want guys they can hang out with and have good conversation with and text in the offseason and say, hey, buddy, how's everything going? And you can have a good conversation. So that's first and foremost, man, because there's some sponsors out there, they just want to assemble the best team, and they have a bunch of turds on their team, and everybody has a bad time. So I've been lucky enough to been with some great group of people, and man, that's for a lot of them, that's the incentive right there, man. Make babies memories. That's what it's about, So
Pretty much.
Love it. No, that's awesome. So for you, we have the bat we just talked about.
Yeah.
You started with batting gloves, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So are those still in circulation, and do you get compensated for that?
Sure. Yeah. So Rene Verduzco with West Texas Glove Man, he's been with me since 2019. I think we kind of both started at the same time. I was just kind of starting to play some upper ball and stuff, and he was just kind of starting getting his company going. So yeah, he came up and we worked it out, and he got me some batting gloves, my own signature line of batting gloves that are still out today. The honey drips, go to westtexasgloveman.com and get you some, so they're still out there, and that's cool too. And you go to a tournament and you see people wearing your batting gloves and things like that. And, he gives me a bunch of batting gloves to do things with. And I'm bad about it. I just give them away. I'm just like, it means a lot to me. And I say, I want people to wear my stuff and have my stuff, and I'm glad I'm not a business guy in that sense with batting gloves, because I wouldn't make any money.
But it's free advertisement.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It helps him out, helps me out. And it's a good deal. So, some people, I know, some people get compensated in different ways, but yeah, for me, it's more about, that's my guy. We've been together for a long time. And, he's going to help, always helps me out. I want to help him out as long as I can, and he's also good for this region. He's sponsored teams and guys, sponsored a bunch of Joey's teams before, sponsored some of the teams I've put in together. And so that's what I like to see, man. It's all about getting the region up and getting those things going.
He does other teams. He does little league teams, sponsor youth sports, youth football teams. He's not only a brand, but he's a good dude.
Sure.
He goes out of his way to help us out or help our families out. Whatever's going on, he'll try to take the time and put in the work, do the extra stuff for us. And I've always been real blessed to have Rene Verduzco in our corner.
Yeah.
It's a good
and that's
deal.
what you're wearing right now, right?
Yeah, West Texas.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect plug, right?
Yeah. No, he's awesome, man. So.
Joey, one of the things that I think is unique about your game is your defense. You play the infield, which to me translates to you being able to play infield, outfield. I could be wrong. You're versatile. Is that something that you feel like makes you more open to more teams, that they can say, you know what, I can have this guy because if I've got a shortstop and a second baseman, he might play somewhere else, but he's got a good stick and defense.
Well, yeah, I mean, being versatile in that way is you're always going to be able to do more things and help out your team. So, being able to play bucket, or say your third baseman goes down, you can go play third, or heck, if you need to play first base, whatever you need to do to help the team, that's always a plus to have. But at the same time, most of the sponsors are going to say, hey, what's your primary position? So you can be at your best and be most comfortable with it. Right now, my spot is second base.
Okay.
I'll go play other spots, whatever, but second base, it's more comfortable to me.
Yeah.
And it allows me to play more freely it translates to hitting too, because I don't have to worry about making throws from short or third. But, if I have to, I'll go do that. If a sponsor says, hey, I need you to play third, got you.
Yes, sir.
You're not going to say,
yeah,
oh, man, well, I don't want to do that. No. If a sponsor needs you to play somewhere, you're going to play it. I need to go play center, I'm going to go play center. It's just the nature of being, like you said, versatile in wherever you do.
Yeah. And Honeycutt, for you, you're an outfielder.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so how do you stand out? Because I know that whenever I play just at a local level, tournaments, you go to a team or you go up to just about anybody and you go, well, what do you play? Oh, I'm an outfielder. It's it feels like 100% of people can play the outfield. How do you stand out?
Well, it's I think as guys get older and fatter, you want to start moving closer and closer to the infield, and
okay.
Yeah, man. I came up playing the outfield. I was, in college and stuff, I was an outfield, pro ball, I was an outfield catcher. And then when I got out here, I was, I could run and do that type of stuff. So I wanted to play outfield, right? when I first playing softball, I was 28 or something. I was like, man, I feel like I can catch every ball. It just stays up there so long, you know? But on this team, usually when you start going up, there's really no surprises, right? So before the season, they'll let you know, hey, man, this is what we're bringing you in to do this. You're going to play right field, and we need you to be ready to do that. You're gonna start, 80% of the games. You might sit on Friday nights against some lower level teams, and you would be ready for the rest of the tournament. So in your mind going in, you know what you have to train for, right? A couple years back when I first started playing the conference, I was with a really good AA team called Extreme, and they let me know off the bat, hey, man, you're going to have to try to work in and find a spot, and that might be on the infield. So take ground balls and you start working on some different stuff. And I ended up playing probably 80-90% in the infield that year, So I wasn't a very good one, but that's where I played, you know what I mean? So they kind of let you know going ahead, So standing out for me, I think it's really important to work on the little things about, as we get older and stuff, we kind of forget about the fundamentals, about your first step and your reads and different stuff. And a lot of guys do not work on the little stuff. They get to a certain level and you're like, I'm a major player. I got it all figured out.
Yeah.
And you never got it figured out. I know this year there was a bunch of, plays during the season where there's a ball in the gap and I was ranging to my right and I felt like I couldn't cut that angle to cut that ball off and catch it in the air.
Sure.
So, before the Major World Series and stuff, I worked on that and set cones up and would take my drops and try to cut that angle and work on it. Wow. Well, sure enough, there's a couple times in the game where that same play happened and I was able to make the play just because you put that every little extra bit of work in, So it's important, man. I always say that the game will treat you good if you treat it good. You got to be able to do those little things. And it's always the stuff you hear all the cliches. It's, what you're doing when no one's looking.
Yep.
Are you willing to go out there and run and do all the little stuff, run bases, People want to hit doubles, but they never practice hitting doubles. They never run bases and get their cardio in by hitting doubles. And it's true. Yeah. You can cut that angle. That could be different from you getting tagged or not. So for me, I just really try to do that, try to get the little stuff down. We don't warm up, when you're playing real hard ball, you have a specific time to throw and to warm up. Well, after a while, you forget about that. You just show up and start slinging the ball around, So for me, I was like, man, I really need to take the time to throw and warm up and stretch and do those things right. And it paid off. There's a lot of times in the game where you make a big throw just because you practiced that and just because you took the extra 10 minutes to do armbands and a throw and play long toss or whatever it was. So I think it's really important to do little things if you're not like a freak athlete, So
you had a chance to represent New Mexico in a tournament. I saw social media. You had like a photo shoot. I mean, dude.
Yeah.
shirtless and but you
that was a different video there.
I wasn't supposed to see that.
Yeah, exactly.
But so can you tell me about that? Like, what was that? It looked like it was a big deal.
Yeah, so what it is, Joey and I both the last few years have played in what they call the Challenge Cup, right? And it's USSA's Olympics of softball. So what they do is they get the best players from your state, and you go compete against everybody from other states at the major division. I mean, they have divisions all the way down to D-ball, I believe.
Yeah.
And so you get your state and you get selected and you go out and you play with all the guys from your state and compete at the highest level. So I got a chance to do the promo and stuff, and it was really cool. And it's a whole different deal of pride. Joe and I have played with Team Colorado before, because what it is, if they let you pick up a couple guys from a state that touches you, right? So in this case, Colorado touches New Mexico. So one year, me and Joey played with Team Colorado, and this past year was the very first year we got to take Team New Mexico and compete at the very highest level of softball in the major division. And it was really cool for us because it's all guys we've competed against for the last couple years, like either with or against. And you always hear the stuff of guys from New Mexico aren't as good or blah, 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 blah. And we got to take a team that we are local and things like that and go compete against the Floridas and all the guys with names on their bats and all the guys making $100,000 a year playing softball and see where you stack up. And we did really well, man. We finished top 5. Sam Dahl was our coach. Wow. Renee Verduzco was one of our sponsors. So yeah, we took a bunch of guys from our region, and I will say this, because because New Mexico has not that many people in it, population wise, we got to get some good guys from the region. So we got to go within 100 miles of New Mexico and pick up some guys from like Lubbock and things like that. Okay. And that really helped us out too. So El Paso. Midland. So we took all that group of guys, man, and we finished, top 5 in the whole thing, So we finished right in line with Texas, finished in line with all the guys that are historical powerhouses in that conference in that tournament. So that's something I'm really proud of.
I want to say like 26.
Oh wow!
It's a bunch. Yeah. There's a bunch, man.
That's cool, man.
It's the Olympics of softball, man. It's a whole different set of pride when you can represent your state and your region, and especially with your buddies. We all play together with or against each other for years now, and like we all get to team up and go take on the the Kyle Pearsons, the Tyler Irvines, all the best guys in softball, and see where you stack up, So
yeah. So who are the best guys in softball, or the guys that you've played with that you're just like, you know what, this guy is a standout, or a few? Or any names come to mind? Man, there's a lot. There's so many good dudes that are known for specific things. If you need a home run, my teammate for the last few years, Tyler Irvine, has been the best, in my opinion, the best home run hitter in softball. He's just automatic, and he can do it at the big stage. It's one thing because a lot of guys will hit a lot of home runs when you're playing at the smaller events on 300-foot fences all year. Yeah. And next thing you know, they have 80, 100 home runs on the season. But this dude will do it on the biggest fields at the biggest stages against the best teams. So for me, if you need a home run, that's
Lindensky, man.
What's that?
Lindensky was a freaking
Lindensky to me
boss this year.
Right, yeah. Mitchell Lindensky was our leadoff this year for Competitive Edge. That was the team I played with, and in my opinion, he was the MVP of softball. Wow. He almost broke the record at the Smoky with home runs. He had like 29 home runs in one tournament. And he's about 5'8", 215 pounds of just muscle. Yeah. Like he's just a bulldog, and he plays outfield every inning. So imagine playing outfield, because in conference you have 7 innings, no time limit on a baseball field. So you imagine how exhausting that would get.
Yeah. Three man. You don't get 4.
Yeah. And you play,
really? Oh,
3-man
so
outfield.
9 guys.
You play.
No.
You play
you
10.
get 5 in the infield. So you got a middle guy infielder, but you got a 3-man outfield on a big field. So you got to run around that sucker all day long. Then you got to go hit and get a triple or double. I think he led the league in doubles last year.
Last year he won the doubles title.
Wow. Yeah.
This year he hit over 100 home runs and hit 770 or something.
As an outfielder, that's just dumb.
So, and he did it in the big tournaments. He did really well. So, I mean, he to me, he was the best player last year. I think Bradley Jones won it from Resmondo, and very deservingly, that guy's a freak. He mashes the ball and kills it and plays outfield and does all that. Kyle Pearson, big Kyle Pearson won the batting title, so he hit like
831 or something.
831
like
or 840, something like that. Broke the record, And so there's plenty of awesome dudes out there.
That's good.
Yeah, really good. Yeah. So, I mean, we can go on and on. I talk about dudes, but I always give props, man. Even if I play against these guys and they're, we might not like each other on the field, but hey, man, like he's good. He's the best. It is, So it's very.
Do you guys ever get into like back and forths?
Yeah,
because slow pitch is pretty high intensity, right? I mean, as much as it's slow pitch, it's very much like in your face. I want to beat you. I don't like you.
Oh yeah.
Have you guys gotten into it a few times?
There's always at the upper level. There's not a lot of chirping, but you'll get into some good games, and it's not a matter of talking crap or anything like that, but it's a matter of like getting rowdy and getting getting your team up, getting live, getting it gets pretty intense.
Yeah, like Joey said, upper levels, you don't get too much of that because if you get in a fight and you can throw a punch, you get suspended for a year.
Oh.
But when you got guys making money, they don't want to mess with that, right? So they'll wait till they get to the gas station afterward and say, hey, man, what's going on? But on the field, you'll have some dust-ups and things like that, you know what I mean? Like a guy I played with for years, Jason Branch, he was always starting dust-ups, and he was that bulldog who kept everybody in line, right? So he was just making sure everybody did what they had to do and things like that. So you definitely need those guys in your team, those hot-headed competitor guys that keep everybody on the same even keel, that no other teams know that you're not going to mess with that guy, right, or mess with their team. So you need that stuff. But at the same time, you're not out there throwing punches because you don't want to be suspended for a whole year.
You always want the guy that you don't like playing against. You like to have that guy on your team, because you can always count on them to try to get in people's heads and just be loud and obnoxious. But at the end of the day, there's one of the guys they're a cool dude, like Ryan Tomasi was on my team for LNS Glass. Golly, when you're playing against him, he's like, shut up, man. But when he's on your team, you're like, yeah, you get it. You like having that guy, the type of guy on your team.
And Ryan would do that, and he'd be pitching. So like when the guy's willing to talk and do that and pitch, that guy's really about his business because he's in the line of fire every pitch. And I love that dude. There's not a better teammate out there than Ryan Tomasi. He's a great dude, and he hits it, and he's a good player. So shout out to that dude, man. Good dude.
You talk about making money in slow pitch. Guys are making money. You don't want to get suspended. You want to make sure you're out on the field. Consistency is big on that, right? You got to go to tournaments. You can't just go, well, I got to work. Yeah. You got to be there. But how do you make money in slow pitch where it's not like a very public thing? We know baseball players, they sign this contract. Do you sign contracts? Do you do
Sure,
that?
Yeah. It's sponsor driven, I mean, so you sign contracts. Some people don't believe in contracts. Some people do. Some people have stuff worked out with bat companies and stuff where they get compensated through that, So there's different ways. For a long time, it's a kept secret that people got paid and stuff. And but yeah, it's kind of a taboo thing to talk about and stuff.
But it's not through the sport, right?
No,
it's
no. USSSA, no. So if USSSA is listening, no, nobody gets paid, man. I don't know what y'all talking about, So
right,
but some people get paid with Hershey's Kiss bars or whatever, Hershey's bars,
right,
So I mean, but people, there's a reason why they're there, and there's a reason. There's something there to keep people motivated to do that because guys are competitive and sponsors are competitive too. So they're going to try to put the best team they can out on the field, right? Mm-hmm. So whatever that means, by whatever means, some people are willing to do that,
Wow.
So, and those guys make a lot more money than people do in minor league baseball. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah. Because those guys, you know what I mean? So there's a way, and I think that's a great thing because it keeps people motivated. And, if you have that, you know that there's more out there to do and compete, and you might be able to actually, do a little something for your family or whatever. Like, why not? Why not would you try to do that, So, I mean, some guys get, crazy money. Some guys don't get anything. Some guys just get, an opportunity, but we're all the same deal and all competing, and that's the dream, right? You want to compete and and do some of those cool things and be able to travel around the country and play a kid sport, So very lucky to do that, man. That's awesome.
So my last question for tonight is the final goal. Joey, what is your end goal for slow pitch? Not end goal, but what is it like? I get here, that's what I set out to do.
Yeah.
What is it for you?
Mine is just leaving a mark, man.
Yeah.
you know, not only for like my family, like my boys growing up, like I'd like for them to know that I played something at a high level, and I was good at it, and I'd like for them to strive for that feeling of accomplishment, you know, knowing I left it all out there, and you can't take that away from me type deal. But also for the state of New Mexico, I mean, I'd like for the sport to grow more, because there's not guys like me and Honeycutt at that level, Steve Myers, that get to play conference ball, and we'd like to see more guys get the opportunity to, and really just put themselves out there more. Like a lot of guys get caught up in the whole deal of, you know, staying local, staying with your local team, not wanting to go outside the box, which I get it. I mean, but there's always those guys that have that mentality of, I want to be like more an ambitious mentality, you know, wanting more for themselves. And I just, you know, maybe this could be a stepping stone for those guys, you know, get out of their shell and go do what they want, you know.
And what about for you? What is the ultimate goal?
Well, I mean, I want to win a Major World Series, and that's the highest thing you can do. You know, a couple years ago we got second in the whole entire thing, you know, and
televised.
They show them on usssa Live or YouTube. They'll show them live, or Facebook Live. It used to be on CBS Sports back in the day, and all that stuff. But that was before my time, you know. Maybe one day it'll get back to that level. You know, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to win that, to know that, hey man, there's not a team to ever, you know, or to you know, we're the best team. This is the highest it goes. And you know, that's really the goal for me, because after that everything else is gravy. You know what I mean? And you strive to be the very best player you can be. Like, I want to be the best player in the game, you know.
For sure.
I feel like I'm one of the best hitters in the game, if not the best. And I'll say that in front of anybody, because I work hard and I can do what anybody else can do. So I want to put that all together and be on a really good team and win the whole thing, and then be able to reevaluate your situation and say, hey, you know, we did this. Me and Joey, man, we've been doing this thing a long time, it feels like, and it all meant something. You know what I mean? And then you step back from that, and what we're doing right now with the New Mexico Challenge Cup team and our New Mexico program, that's going to far outlast anything that we could win or do, because those guys are going to get experiences and they're going to pass those on to younger guys. And that's some of the things I tell these guys, like, hey, there'll be some point where you're up there and there's going to be an opportunity to help somebody get to where you're at, or even above where you're at. That's your duty. That's that to the game to do that and keep that passing along. There was those tons of people who helped me out and gave me a chance to do that. And you want to pay it forward to the next generation, the next people, because they're going to have kids and they're going to do those things. And you want just to keep on growing, you know. And I think, man, I really think that we're on a good path, you know, of doing that. And I don't think there's ever been a time where this region has been had this many good players that are competing at the highest level. You know, and I think that's only going to continue. So stay tuned. It's going to keep on getting better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Guys, thank you so much for joining the podcast. Appreciate it. I learned a ton from this, by the way, and what you guys are doing is really cool. So once again, thank you guys for being on.
Thank you, brother, allowing me to be here, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys, tonight's podcast sponsored by the Lucky Bull Grill. Be on the lookout for Upstairs opening up in the new year, and thanks for listening to All Sports Best.